this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Now I shouldn't be doing this really, because this is a project plant, and the project plants are due for their first lot of filming towards the end of this month into next month, but this one is in the others, which is the last lot to be filmed, so it's going to be well into March before it gets looked at again. But several people have asked how it's getting on. I think what they really mean is it dead yet? Well, no, it's not. It's doing okay. The only thing I will say is that this new growth here has 2 spikes. That I'm very pleased about. But the new growth here, which looks incredibly similar in size and strength, although it is a bit behind this one, has 0 spikes, which seems odd. But I'm happy that I've got 2 on 1 growth, yeah? Bearing in mind, in the past we've had none, mainly because we didn't get the new growths, they died. So this growth here has no spikes at the moment. It would be nice if it pushed up a spike, because it would follow on behind these 2, quite a long way behind, which means I'd get a succession of blooming, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stake these. What's happening with these is they're leading towards the light. Now this other little growth down here does not want to grow. I don't think it ever will now. It's been sat like that for too long. I just don't think it's going to grow for whatever reason. But we've got good new roots coming off of the growth with the spikes. They're off down into the pot. It's quite possible there's roots coming off of this growth as well, but they're going to be in a place where I'm not going to be able to see them. They're going down in the middle of the plant somewhere. The old roots didn't die back, so we ended up keeping the old root system, so it's got a good root system. So yeah, I think I will stake those spikes. I don't know how many buds I'm going to get, but if I get a good showing, they're going to bend over because they're already leaning towards the light, if you see what I mean. So I think if I straighten them up now and separate them slightly, so it's this one will probably be okay. It's this one that's going to cross over it. So if I can straighten this one up with a stake and clear it from the leaves, I think we'll get a better show. So I'll do that now, I think. But yeah, I mean, it's a no ID Zygopetalum, just a hybrid. But the blooms are attractive, highly fragrant, and quite honestly, I'm looking forward to what is probably, from memory, going to be the first ever rebloom of a zygo by me, because normally they don't last long enough to rebloom. Anyway, a quick update on the zygo. So there we go, I've clipped this one, so the buds are now heading off in that direction. And I'm pretty sure that this one is going to arch out under these leaves, sort of here somewhere. So we should get some blooms out here and then some blooms out here, which would put a nice balance on the plant. If both of the spikes headed off in the same direction away from the plant, I suspect they would cross over or clash, and then the blooms would get jumbled up and we wouldn't see them so clearly as we will on 2 entirely separate spikes. So yeah. It's doing okay. I'm pleased. The leaves are all good. This is what I like. You know, even the old leaves on the oldest part of the plant, you know, they're not covered in spots and blotches and making me embarrassed to even own it, which we don't do with this one. I'm quite pleased to own this. And I'm satisfied now that I will get more zygos. I'm quite happy that I will be able to look after them from now on. I just hope that if I do get some more, I start with a good plant, you know, one that's got an existing root system, because you normally buy them in bloom, you know, so the growths would have already produced their roots at that point. So if they've gone into bad media and been lost, it's going to be difficult to recover the root system. So we just have to hope that they're good ones. But, you know, I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to get. I mean, I'm limited to where I can buy from now. It's going to be English suppliers only, UK suppliers only. Did you know that due to the conflab between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, which is the only place that the UK has a land border with the EU, apparently, to make sure that there was no hard border between those 2 entities, different rules were set up for Northern Ireland to the rest of the UK, much to the annoyance of some of the other countries in the UK, including some of the people in the UK. But it was the only way they could not set up a hard border between those two countries, which could have caused all sorts of problems, as it has done in the past. And we don't want any of that nonsense. So apparently you can still import plants into Northern Ireland from the EU via Southern Ireland. Now there's a thought. There's a thought, because once they're in Northern Ireland, getting them across the sea to England is not an export. That's no different to going from Wales to England or England to Scotland. It's no different at all. As far as I know, the rules of sending stuff between Northern Ireland and England, there aren't any to any great extent. So there's a thought. It's a loophole, a possible loophole. So all we need is somebody in Ireland, mentioning no names, who would be willing to order plants from somewhere in the EU, like Schwerter, and get a nice big order in, and then get them to somebody in Northern Ireland who'd be willing to send them on to the UK. It costs a fortune in postage, but if you compare that with the costs of actually importing orchids from the EU into the UK, you're looking at probably a couple of £100 with all the paperwork that has to be done. And I'm sure that, you know, the postage between, say, somewhere like Schwerter and the Republic of Ireland is just a standard postage charge. That would be the same as the cost of the order that Lynn got, you know, that I was part of, which I think is €25. So that gets them into the Republic of Ireland. Then they'd have to get across the border into Northern Ireland, hopefully with no fuss, and then be posted on from there. But they'd have to have those stopping points. You can't sort of, if you tried to send something from the Republic of Ireland to England, it wouldn't go via Northern Ireland unless it had a stop-off point. So it went somewhere and stopped, and then got reposted again, posted on. Anyway, it's a thought. Have we found a loophole? I wonder. Oh, there's going to be something in the way. There's going to be something that's going to spoil that, I'm sure. I mean, somebody's left me a comment. I don't know what to say about it, because I could only be negative. But because of the boundary that's now set up between the rest of the EU and the UK, somebody moving from London into Europe and wants to take their plants with them. Well, I hate to be negative, but don't hold your hopes up. I can't see a way of doing that without the paperwork, and that's a fair old bit of money, and it can fail. There are parts of it that, even though you've done your best with the paperwork, it can still fail, and your plants get confiscated. So anyway, that's we don't want none of this negative stuff. Zygo, doing okay. Now, because I've never bought a Zygo with a spike in bud, only in bloom, I don't know what's going to come out of here. What are we going to get? 1 bud? 3 buds? 5 buds? Don't forget any more than that. But because I've never seen this expand and open, you know, if you've owned these sort of plants for a long time, you can look at a bud at that stage, because that's not actually a bud. These are like bracts enclosing the buds. The buds are inside, they don't show yet. But people who know could go, well, you've got 3 bracts, you'll probably have 2 buds. Because they'll look at that and, you know, that's going to expand and then the buds will come out the top. Anyway, I'm quite happy to wait and see. So 1 Zygo, nice and bright green. 3 new growths, one of which has decided not to. 2 that are, and one of them has 2 spikes on. So I class that as a reasonable success. It was certainly a success for me anyway. And I chose a spike long enough that, because I don't know how much taller this is going to get, I can still get another clip up here if I need to. So, but I don't think the other one will need staking. I think that one will arch out here nicely on its own. You know, it'll just do that. So anyway, update on the Zygo hybrid. See you next time.